Hello everyone.
Hello everyone.
We are with you again in a new Behind the Window program. Thank you very much for participating in our program and being our guest. With our technical service chief, Mr. Vasfi, I will introduce our new machine, CDC 600 double head compound angle cutting machine, to you in this episode. Let me start with your permission, Mr. Vasfi.
Of course, Mr. Arai, if you want, you can explain the general features. Afterwards, I will help you by asking questions to explain the machine better.
Our CDC 600 machine is a double head compound cutting machine. With this machine, it is possible to cut both aluminum and PVC profiles straight and at the desired angle. The biggest feature of our machine is that it has two saws with a diameter of 600 millimeters. In addition to this, linear cutting is the process of making 90-degree linear cutting as well as pivoting, that is, cutting at a rotary angle, and also cutting in a horizontal position, which we call tilting. Well,
let me ask you this here, Mr. Arai. Speaking of angles, can you explain what angles we can move inward and outward in the pivoting angle and in the horizontal angle, in which angles we have the ability to move?
Okay, we have prepared a diagram to explain them as well. These are the heads you see, the heads that do the cutting. This is our head on the left, the fixed head. The head on the right is the moving head. The movable head goes to the size you cut to the desired length. Both heads have a pivoting and tilting feature. First of all, I want to give angular information about the pivoting capacity, the rotation feature capacity. Now, we said that our head cuts at 90 degrees. In addition, this head can rotate 67.5 degrees to the right. It can turn inward 67.5 degrees, that is, it can turn 22.5 degrees from the miter.
In other words, it is possible to cut the profile at an angle of 22.5 degrees.
At the same time, this head can turn outwards at 50 degrees to the left, provided that it remains fixed at 90 degrees.
So then we say, with 22.5 degrees, 50 degrees to 140 degrees.
Between 40 degrees and 22.5 degrees.
If we look the other way, yes.
This head with right
Yes.
and left pivoting feature.
Yes.
The same features are also valid for the moving head.
What are the limits of angles in the horizontal position?
Okay, I made a new diagram for that too. In this way, when we look from the front, there is a saw mechanism in this body. It can be seen from this angle easily. The saw mechanism can both move upwards and tilt to the right at an angle of 45 degrees so that this saw comes out of the bed.
In other words, when it tilts to both angles, a compound angle is formed.
Yes, this is a machine that has both the 45-degree tilt feature and the 45-degree pivoting feature, that is, compound cutting and compound angles.
Yes.
Now, after I have finished describing the angle specifications with tables, I want to move on to other specifications. All movements in this machine, what I want to say is actually going to the cutting measure and angular movements in the heads are all done by servo-controlled motors. As the servo control automation system, we chose Omron brand servo motors. In other words, Omron automation system is used in our machine.
Well, we used HydroCheck in our previous double head models for the cutting action of the saws.
That's right.
Now, let's talk about the system that provides the cutting movement of the saws in this.
All right, let me give a very brief information about cutting motors.
Yes.
As you know, both heads of the machine have cutting motors. These are synchronous motors with 4 kilowatts.
Yes.
In other words, the motors that are easy to control and follow are on the screen. To our motors.
I asked about the cutting action. Is the cutting
Yeah.
hydraulic or something
The
different?
cutting movement, that is, the upward movement we call the feed rack, is an electrically controlled servo motor instead of hydro check.
Servo, piston.
Thanks to the piston. Again, these movements can be added just on the screen as you want.
So we can add just the cutting speed
Cutting
as we
speed
want.
and exit distance from the table can be controlled. As you know, it is much more difficult to control them with hydrocheck.
I would like to ask, there are feedbacks from the field about the scratching problem in aluminum profiles, especially painted profiles, This is the same for all competitors. Have any precautions been taken on this machine to prevent these profiles from being scratched?
Yes,
Do we have a feature related to it?
In order to avoid this problem, you see here we have two mechanical designs. This is a mechanical cylinder. A mechanical cylinder design we have.
If you want, I can turn the head to 90 degrees.
Yes, it would be much better. If you turn it to 90 degrees.
Be careful, please.
Yes, the mechanism we see here. The profile sits on these drums during this cut. We have the same drum both here and in the head on the right. If we can show that too, so that when the profile is driven by the moving head or when it is first placed, these drums are put on it. These drums fall down before cutting. The clamps clamp the profile and the cutting is thus completed.
So even if any sawdust has fallen on the table, the profile walks on the rollers in order to prevent it from being scratched while
rise
driving.
slightly above this table. So, the profile scratching problem is completely eliminated.
We understood this. Let me also ask you, while you are talking about the features of the machine, what are the minimum and maximum cutting capacities? The length of the machine.
Yes, as you know, we have two saws of 600 millimeters.
Yeah.
You know the maximum capacity these saws give. That is, the maximum capacity. They have an approach distance as the saw gets bigger. Our minimum cutting measurement at 90 degrees is 485 millimeters.
485 millimeters.
Yes, minimum.
What about the minimum length when both heads are 45 degrees inwards?
840 millimeters when both heads are 45 degrees inwards.
840 millimeters.
degrees.
Let me ask you this, you said 840 millimeters at 45 degrees. If I need a smaller size than 840
Yes.
millimeters, can I get a shorter cut with an option such as slicing, as in your other machines?
Of course, of course. It is possible there will definitely be a need for less than 840 millimeters in the field or workshop conditions. In that case, our operator will keep this fixed head profile at 90 degrees or 45 degrees after the machine makes the end cut of the profile, and the moving head profile will make the cutting in a shorter length in one head.
So in the mode we call CNC cutting,
Yes, serial cut.
it can cut smaller sizes
Yes,
at an angle.
we can do it as much as we want at 90 degrees or 45 degrees angle.
It can also perform corner wedges, slicing beside standard
Of
slicing
course,
at 90
there are the
degrees.
same features here as in our standard machines.
I understand, well, the machine doesn't have much to maintain. As far as I know, it's
Yes.
just about lubrication.
Cleaning is very important. Daily maintenance is important. Coolant must be completed in the absence of absolutely. The machine has coolant.
The coolant is very important related to the cutting quality, so aluminum users already know this. Only need to replace the cartridge lubrication system when the cartridge runs out.
It lubricates slides automatically. Of course,
Yes.
it has a period of time. It is necessary to replace the cartridge.
So, can a vacuum absorber or chip carrier conveyor system be applied to this machine related to the chips scattered around after cutting, or the chips coming out, or the profile wastages or chips falling inside?
Yes, I was going to talk about that later, but now that you asked, let me tell you, Mr. Vasfi, we offer a conveyor as an option to our customers who want it inside this chassis. The parts cut by the conveyor can be
It can be
exported.
moved to the exit.
We also have a chip outlet here to remove the chips accumulated inside the body. As you see, By connecting a chip vacuum system here.
By attaching the hose to the manifold,
Chips can be exported
sucked out.
from here.
I understand.
I can finish other features
All right.
if you want. Then if you have questions, I'll answer.
All right.
As you can see, there are 4 vertical and 2 horizontal clamps on the machine.
Speaking of horizontal clamps, you can use it without using these horizontal clamps if you
Of
want.
course,
If
right.
you want to show it. If they do not want to use it, they can easily take it out with an automatic coupling. If they want to use it, I can activate the clamp by inserting the hose very easily.
With USB memory, programs can be made in the office environment and moved here with a USB stick or transferred here with an Ethernet cable.
Data transfer can be made directly from the office.
We have a 15-inch touch screen, very useful, very convenient for programming.
Yes.
It has a pretty big screen. It's a color screen. We have the opportunity to provide technical support by remote connection. In case of any problem, our technical service team is able to connect and provide support.
At the same time, program updates can be made remotely, again, when needed.
We give our barcode printer unit together with the machine.
This is supplied as standard with the machines.
Yes.
I want to ask one more question about cutting.
All right.
Some of our customers are wondering about the arrow cutting option, though not used in Turkey
Not
much.
used much in Turkey.
If we want to do it, does this machine have that cutting feature?
Yes, let me give a brief information. In countries such as England, Ireland, India, and Canada, which we call the Commonwealth, mullion profiles are made by welding instead of screwing, as in Turkey, definitely PVC profiles with pointed ends. Of course, this feature is required in these countries, therefore, this feature is available in this machine. In other words, the ends of the mullion profiles can be cut in the form of an arrow 45 degrees from the right and 45 degrees from the left.
Okay, so we have such a feature.
Yes, what else was there? We talked about the screen. If requested, our machine can cut 5 meters in length. This is the standard machine. If desired, we can also make the machine that cuts 7 meters of profiles.
So the standard length of the machine is 5 meters, but if desired, 7 meters can be ordered and bought, but there is a feature if you want, let me tell you that.
Sure.
If a 6.5 meter profile is desired to be cut in our 5 meter standard machine, it can cut a 6.5 meter profile in 2 times by keeping one head fixed and feeding to the other moving head.
Yes, you are right.
If you want, I can take the saws off the screen and...
Let me tell you, let me give you some information about the materials and hinges we use.
Sure.
As I just said, the automation system is completely Omron, a product of Japanese origin. The pneumatics we use in the machine are Festo, German brand. In addition, all of the important materials we use in the electrical cabinet are Schneider, German-made products. Again, the mechanical and linear.
Mechanic and liner products.
Products we use in the machine are German products, Butyl THK or Hywen, that is, Taiwanese products.
So when you look,
High-quality products.
when you look at them, they are all top brands in their field.
Yes, we use very high-quality products. These are the things I will tell in general, if you want, about the angular movements I just explained.
I'll take the saws out, so that it becomes clearer in the head, which angle means what.
Let's see what kind of movements our machine makes, Mr. Vasfi.
There is a menu close to Windows on the screen. We can select the menu we want from the left side. We can control the manual movements of the machine in normal cutting, serial cutting, slicing. We can see the output and inputs as jobs. There is a settings page where we can make section settings. The data to be used by the operator or service personnel is entered. We have 6 different standard languages: Turkish, English, Russian, Spanish, French and Portuguese. I can show you the angles if you want. Let's show you the saws. Now we said earlier that it cuts at 90 degrees.
You can cut at 90 degrees.
Now I'm going to take the saws up to 90 degrees. I will show you what the 90-degree cut means. Yes, look when we say 90 degrees. These are the angles we're seeing. Sorry, tilting right now.
It is horizontal right now.
I'm cutting 90 right away. Wait a second. 90, 90, 90, 90.
Our support pistons went up.
Alright.
To lift the profile. Yes.
Now when we say 90 degrees, both the tilting angle and the pivoting angle are now 90 degrees, the saws go up.
This is a straight
Yes,
cut at 90
this
degrees.
is the angle we call 90. Now let me show you 45 degrees inward in pivoting.
Let's show 45 degrees, or 22.5.
I transfer it as 45, I sent the heads to the angle, the heads turn.
45 degrees inward. Let's turn outwards.
Now let me remove the saws if you want,
It could be.
so that the saws can also be seen.
So in a compound angle.
It's not a compound angle right now, just 45 degrees
45
inward.
degrees inward.
This is how it is. Let me show you the compound now if you
Yes,
want.
let's show the compound. Let's show both the rotary and horizontal angle the position of the cut.
When I take the tilt angle to 45, while in this position, at the moment the saws don't appear to be turning to angle inside, but you'll see when you take the saws out. As we see now, the saws form a compound angle of 45 in both the rotary angle and 45 in the
Compound
horizontal angle.
I can show you a sample if you want. The same cut in this position.
Okay, I can cut it if you want the profile.
It would be better actually, but we can cut later. For example, our machine will make a cut in such a position at this position right now. As you can see, it has both a reclining and a pivoting position. If he makes the cut, it will reveal such a pyramidal shape.
Let me show you the outward angle.
Let's show the angle to the outside, Mr. Vasfi.
As you mentioned before, all of these movements, the movements are made with a servo system. Now I take it out, I sent the angles to the measure.
Right.
While still
It
here
is
the
45
saws,
degrees.
at 45 degrees,
So we have the feature of pivoting inwards and outwards.
we can cut at any angle we want.
We have that feature.
Now, this machine can make a cut at a compound angle, as its name suggests. Let's see it.
Let's make a compound angle cut.
Let's see that.
Yes. So let's do the component cutting. So, let's see all 5 axes.
Yes, for clarity, I want to cut at a compound angle of 45 degrees.
Yes.
Let's set up our profile. I'm not going to press these counter clamps, I'll just use the top clamps now, but our audience will be able to see the action. Like this. We close the clamps. Look, clamps, reverse clamps also work, but I am
Since
not
it is a
pressing at
simple
the moment.
profile, it is a flat
Because I'm
profile.
going to show you a sample cut. I'm starting the engine, please get the camera right over there.
Just shoot the single head. Now you can see better. Now doing a cutting in a 45 degree pivoting 45 degree mitter position now.
Yes, I have started the saw motors. The lids will close when I press 2 hands. We keep our hands pressed until the cutting process is completed. After the cut is completed, we take our hands away. I stop the feed motor, I open the clamps. Like this. As you can see, we have achieved both inward 45 and tilting 45-degree positions on both sides in the compound angle. How is the result? Let's see how it looks.
Yes, let's see that
Here's
too.
how. Let me get a piece of profile from there.
In this way, we can make special
Right.
cuts on this machine, especially special cuts.
When you look at it, we get the result in the form of a pyramid. I can't quite hold it, but does the camera show?
It is possible to make special cuts.
Right. Looking at it this way, you can get this pyramid. Like this. The machine. That's all I'm going to tell roughly about the machine. Do you have anything to add?
I have one more thing to add about the security system, Mr. Vasfi.
Right.
Our machine works with the principle of double hand safety. As you know, you said it too,
Right.
a second important feature of our pistons, namely our clamps, is double acting pistons. That is, when the operator first puts the profile here, it works at a low pressure, at a pressure of 2 bar. In order not to harm the operator if the profile pinches his hand,
Right.
after a certain time, when the lids are closed, it rises to 4
In other
bar
words,
pressure.
when the operator accidentally pinches his hand, the clams only hold the profile with low pressure until he starts the cutting process, until he presses the double hand button. When you press the button before the cutting process, it goes up to 4
Yes,
bars.
also you know that in slicing mode, the operator stays idle.
Right.
Pressing 2 hands is not needed. In that case, the slicing mode can only be opened with a password. In other words, the machine can slice after the foreman gives permission,
So directly.
enters the password.
Right.
It goes into slicing mode after making the security measure and warning.
In other words, the process can be activated
Yes,
with
we
an
also have
administrator
such a
password.
security measure.
Right.
Yes, this is all I can tell in general, Mr. Vasfi.
Maybe we can add this, that profile support conveyor is already standard with the machine. It is
This is
together
how
like
we
this.
deliver it. 1 support, profile support conveyor, and 2 movable support arms with the machine.
These work
We
automatically.
deliver them, yes.
When 7 meters is ordered as an option, the number of these profile support pistons increases to 3. For the long profiles.
Right increases to 3.
Right.
Yes, these are all the information about the machine that we will explain in general. You will definitely have some questions. Now, before moving on to the question and answer part, we will watch a short video about our machine.
Merhaba, ben Murat Koçyiğit. Öğrenim hayatından sonra Yılmaz Makine'de iş hayatına başladım. Yılmaz Makine ailesini 1998 yılında tanıdım. O zamandan beri de Ar-Ge departmanında görevliyim. Proje yöneticiliği görevimin yanında ürettiğimiz ürünlerin makine emniyeti yönetimlerine göre uygunluk çalışmalarını da koordine ediyorum. Özellikle son yıllarda büyük ebatlı profilleri üretilmekte ve kullanılmaktadır. Bu büyük ebatlı profillerin kesim işlemlerinde ve işlenmesinde mevcut makinamız yetersiz kalmaktadır. Bu da müşterilerimiz tarafından çok talep edilmekteydi. Yeni yaptığımız üründe bu taleplere karşılık vermeyi hedefledik. Mevcut ürünlerimizde kesme işlemi alttan çıkma ve karşıdan gelme şeklinde olmaktadır. Özellikle açılı kesme işlemlerinde bazen bu makinelerimizin kapasitesi yetersiz kalmaktadır. Biz bu makinede alttan çıkma hem de karşıdan gelme işlemlerini aynı makine üzerine birleştirerek bu talepleri karşılamış olduk. Özellikle az önce belirttiğim gibi açılı kesme işlemlerinde profilin yerleştirilmesine bağlı olarak ve kesme işleminde yetersiz kalınmaktaydı. Yeni yaptığımız makinede sağa sola döner açılar, yatar açı ve bileşik açılı işlemler sunularak bu talepler yerine getirilmiş oldu. Toplamda 5 eksen işleme kapasitesine sahiptir. 5 metre standart, 7 metre opsiyon olarak müşteriye sunulmaktadır. Az önce bahsettiğim gibi özellikle açılı kesimlerde mevcut makinelerimiz yetersiz kalmaktaydı. Yani profilin yatırma yönüne bağlı olarak, yerleştirme yönüne bağlı olarak makinelerimiz yetersiz kalmaktaydı. Bu da müşterilerden çok fazla talep gelmekteydi bununla ilgili. Biz bu makinede hem karşıdan gelme hem de alttan çıkma özelliğini birleştirerek bu taleplere karşılık vermiş olduk. Özellikle büyük ebatlı profil işleyen müşterilerin ihtiyaçlarına cevap verecektir. Makinemiz ayrıca Avrupa güvenlik standartlarını karşıladığı için iş güvenliğinin ön planda olduğu işletmelerde de kullanılmaktadır ve tercih edilecektir. İşlem için gerekli olan programı müşteri kendisi piyasadan temin edebilir. Yalnız bu program için bizim makine bilgilerimiz adapte edilmelidir. Müşteri herhangi programı kendi arzusuna göre piyasadan talep edebilir.